How's it going, guys? It's Parker. Today I'm going to teach you how to hardwire your radar detector. Now, Escort was kind enough to provide me with the Max 360 to do this install on. And first, I'm going to talk a little bit about this radar detector. I've had one of these for the last 6 months, and honestly, it's the best radar detector I've ever owned. So much so that Eddie bought one, and then my friend Steve with the GTR bought one, and several other friends, and they all love them. The thing that's great is it combines all of the typical great aspects of Escort radars. It blocks out a lot of false alarms. It makes a lot less noise than some of the competitors. And the big thing now is that its top competitor had a patent that ran out with the directional arrows, so now you've got directional arrows to show you where the threat is coming from. It's also got 360-degree detection, meaning it can sense radar from the front and the rear. So let's take it out on the road, show you why having the arrows is useful, and then after that, I'm gonna go over a detailed install for how to hardwire this thing. It's not all that difficult, and when you do it, it looks a lot cleaner, and it's more functional as well. Driving on the road now, I've got the Passport hooked up. As you can see, I've mounted it a little lower than normal so it's more visible. It's got a beautiful color display, but what I like a lot about it is it actually is showing your real-time speed right here, especially for cars that have more inaccurate speedos, older cars. That's really nice to have. And if you hook it up with the Escort Live app, you can actually see the current speed limit of the road that you are on. Here are the directional arrows, which will indicate where the signal is coming from if you do experience one. Here you can see we're getting an alert X-band with a strong signal from in front of us. What I really like is knowing if there is a police officer in front of you coming in the opposite direction on the freeway, and then he passes you, this will switch to behind, and then you'll know the threat is no longer present. So there's some of the things I love about the radar detector. You should really look into one. So now I'm gonna go over how to hardwire your radar. So there's a few things you're gonna need. If you do have a Passport, which is not required for this video, you can get the Passport Smart Cord. It's really not that expensive. It's about 20 bucks. You can buy it at Best Buy or online, and it'll give you the option of muting the radar from a remote location. Otherwise, you can buy a phone cable at your local Radio Shack, and that'll make it even cheaper. The only other thing you'll need is a circuit adder. I bought this at O'Reilly's. You can get it at AutoZone, and this will allow you to tap into the power of the car to turn on and turn off the radar detector when you power on and off the car without having to splice into any wires and without having to have any electrical engineering knowledge whatsoever. Your first step is to locate your fuse box. You can look up diagrams of your car online. On my Mercedes, it's located right here on the driver's side. Typically, they're somewhere around the driver's side below the dash, whether it's in the footwell here or on the side of the dash. So remove that with a plastic trim removal tool. Honestly, I used a butter knife just really carefully to pry that back. And that unveils your fuse box. The next part is to find the correct fuse to use in order to hardwire your radar detector. Now, there are tons of options, but picking something like the radio fuse is great because when you turn the car off, your radar detector will go off, and when you turn it back on, it will turn on. You can look up circuit diagrams, fuse box diagrams, for your specific car online. On this Mercedes S550, I'm gonna pull this 5 amp fuse and use that to hardwire it. Next, you're gonna wanna take your add a circuit to add a circuit to your fuse box. This is the one I pulled from the Mercedes. You're gonna plug that into the bottom row, the part that is parallel to the wire. And then on the top row, you're going to take a fuse that's given to you in your add a circuit kit, 5 to 10 amps, something like that, and insert it into the top row. Now let's go ahead and attach the add a circuit to the Passport Smart Cord. If you don't have one, you can use a telephone cable and an adapter, but it makes it easier if you have the cord. You'll notice there are 3 ends to your Smart Cord. This will connect to the radar detector, or this is a phone cable if you're using an alternate method. This guy is your ground, and this is your power. That's denoted by having the little red mark, red stripe on the cord. This actually had a different connector on the end, but I cut that off to expose the live wire so we can attach this to the add a circuit. Take the red striped cable from the Smart Cord and insert it into the add a circuit. Then you're going to crimp that, make it tight so the connection is good. Once the smart cord has been properly crimped and attached to the ATA circuit, we're going to plug in the ATA circuit right back where you removed the original fuse from. Now that we've got the ATA circuit right where the original fuse was removed, we've next got to connect the ground from the smart cable to a secure point on the car. You're looking for some exposed metal, a screw like this, something that's unpainted and especially not plastic. So we're gonna go ahead and loosen up this bolt, put in the ground, and secure it tight. Once the ground is connected, you're gonna wanna connect the telephone cable end to your radar detector and test it out. So let's turn the car on, and hopefully, if you did it right, this should power right up, which it does. Now, turn the car off and see if it turns off, which it does. Now you want to work on hiding your power cable so that the hardwire install looks sleek. You want to tuck it up in the headliner. Typically, there's some space behind the mirror. In the Mercedes, there is some space around here. And then you give it a little extra slack so that you can hardwire the radar there. And it's nice and clean looking. I like to start on the radar side so you know exactly the amount of slack, and then adjust it through there. Pull it up around. Now you can either use a credit card to push the cable into the headliner and the A-pillar here, or you can use a plastic trim removal tool. Either one works fine. And get that all hidden up. Cover the fuse panel back up. Once you tuck in all the wires, you should be good to go. Just close up the fuse box panel right here, or wherever it is on your vehicle. You can also choose the location of your mute switch. I chose it down here. And then you're all set. Well, I hope you found this video informative. It's not all that difficult as long as you have the right tools. It's a fun learning experience. I suggest if you have a radar detector to try this yourself. Obviously, I'm not gonna take responsibility if you tap into the wrong wire. This is really nice because you don't have to splice anything, so it's a little less risky. Check out the Passport Max 360. It's seriously the best radar detector on the market. Like always, please browse our channel and subscribe. Look forward to seeing you next video.